Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the exposure of Red Reserve, the downfall of Red Reserve explained, as they have supposedly left the esports scene, hopefully entirely for good and never to come back, as it is now going down as one of the scummiest organizations in the history of esports. I'm going to break down for all of you guys 6+ player stories, along with that 3 to 4 different teams that have been left behind, unpaid, not given salaries, and so on and so forth. I hope you guys all enjoy, and first off, I feel expressively bad for the players. I will try and link their Twitters down below if you guys want to follow them in their future adventures, but here's exactly why Red Reserve is quite possibly one of the scummiest organizations in esports history. And let me tell you, we've seen a lot of scummy organizations out there, so that is certainly saying something. Let's hop back to one tweet out there, firstly brought to us by one of their former Call of Duty members, that being Zero, as he released this tweet just a couple weeks ago, sharing that the guys have been kicked out of the team house all of a sudden onto the streets of Las Vegas with seemingly very little, if any, warning whatsoever. They left the team house behind and supposedly were just supposed to go find some sort of house on the streets. It was then shortly after confirmed as well by his teammate known as Rated, who further stated the team hadn't been paid salaries in months, owed each player $40,000 in prize money, and with that, each player's personal setup remained back in the team house. Now, this is just where the story begins. This is the last 2 weeks. This stretches back months to the CSGO roster, but also before we get to CSGO, let's hop over to Fortnite. A very viral tweet out there by Formula, one of the former members for the Red Reserve Fortnite team. He confirmed him and his teammates had also left the organization because supposedly they actually owed up to $250,000 across all of its players and its Red House members, and they left the organization very shortly for a lack of management and overall, well, he used some wiser words out there, but overall a lack of maturity as well across the organization, being ran by his own words, a bunch of morons. So already you have 2 Call of Duty players, and it could be further confirmed by the entire roster, which has been let go. Those players are slowly finding new homes, Scraps being one of them, formerly of Red Reserve, now of FaZe Clan, I do believe. You have 2 Call of Duty members, a Fortnite guy also confirming that, and even stemming from that Fortnite tweet captioned by a CSGO member known as Draken, arguably one of the better known players, or probably the best known player on that Red Reserve roster for a very short amount of time. This is actually back to early 2019. He captions that tweet and confirms that the organization not only owes Call of Duty members and of course other members from other esports teams under the umbrella, along with that they also owe the CSGO team prize money and salaries. This is also even further confirmed by one of Draken's former teammates on that CSGO roster, that being Disco Doplin / Disco Doplin, however you pronounce it, where he also terminated his own contract. He left the team and cut his own contract because they refused to pay him salary. That is now the 5th player we've seen so far say that Red Reserve was simply not paying their salaries, and so therefore Disco left the team because he was playing but not being paid, and for good reason. And even more, you know, when a mother gets involved, it is a hasty, very, very bad event. Disco's very own mother had taken to Twitter as well on record and also stated and made sure to everyone that you know knew her son was playing for Red Reserve knew they weren't even paying his salary, and that's why he left. And this is not even mentioning, I've actually not seen too much from the Red Reserve, that Rocket League roster, who was doing very well. They made it from the Rivals series up to the Championship series. If you guys don't follow Rocket League very close, it was a rising team. Any team out there who manages to qualify from the Rivals series to the Championship series, otherwise known as RLCS, that is a astute accomplishment. That's a great accomplishment, and many teams who actually make the Championship series like they did usually get signed. They never get really dropped, although it did happen 2 times for 2 of the first times in Rocket League history, but they were making major accomplishments. They qualify for the biggest series in Rocket League, and they all of a sudden get dropped by Red Reserve. Obviously a lack of funding, and I'm not really sure if the team was actually being paid as well. We'll wait for the developments on that, but there you have it, guys. The very short breakdown: 6+ players, 4+ teams right now under the Red Reserve umbrella, not being paid prize pools, not being paid salaries. 2 Call of Duty guys have confirmed it, 2 CSGO guys have confirmed it, a Fortnite guy confirmed it as well. If you guys somehow do not believe their side of the story by now, I don't know what you're going to believe. What really triggers me and makes me want to make this episode as well is because Red Reserve, after all this coming forward, just as of a couple days ago, has the balls to then come forward with a press conference, and for lack of better translation from Swedish to English, pretty much they blame the Call of Duty team for not having good enough results to actually draw in sponsors to pay their salary and their prize pools. So now, apparently, according to Red Reserve, when you sign players under a contractual salary and to give them a cut of their prize pool, if they aren't good enough, you don't have to pay them. That's not how the legal system really works or should work. I'm not sure what contracts they did sign, if Red Reserve can screw these guys over because they signed a piece of paper that says agreed to certain terms out there, but at least morality wise, you should be paying the players who are technically playing under your name. And so to me, it seems these guys have pretty much all but left the scene. They have left behind their Call of Duty roster, their CSGO roster, their Rocket League roster, their Fortnite team, so on and so forth. It seems pretty obvious they're trying to at least wane out of the scene very slowly. And it also seems pretty obvious they were trying to hang on to as many teams as possible without paying them, on the promise of payment sometime soon. Keep on playing, keep on spreading our name out there. We'll keep collecting a few sponsorship fees here and there, and then we're not going to pay you. We're going to leave. Peace out, Red Reserve style. So yeah, that's the story. That's the downfall of Red Reserve. I have seen in my time so far a lot of scummy organizations out there. Ones that come to mind, you got the Winter Foxes, you got the Denials, mostly for not paying a single roster, and then you have Red Reserve topping anything I've heard of so far. If you guys have other stories you want me to cover, feel free to comment down below any tweets out there. I love covering this kind of stuff. Red Reserve hopefully will never return to the esports scene, once known for their Call of Duty days, once known even for their CSGO roster as well, other rosters among them, hopefully to never come back again to the scene because of this. Just the scummiest thing I've ever seen. I have never seen this much overwhelming evidence and actually testimonies on the player side of an esports organization doing this many terrible things. I hope you guys all enjoy. As always, again, the players will be linked down below if you guys want to follow at least some of them and their future adventures. Best of luck to all of you guys who actually handled the Red Reserve management for as long as you guys did. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoy, and until next time, take care.